What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. Well, our pal Arnold Schwartz, an asshole, is actually back at it again. And I want to thank the Viking for tipping me off to this email that's in my emails. So when you join Arnold's like fan club thing, you get like an email from him. Like it's like an email blast, like a newsletter type thing. And he decided he was going to put out a thing in his newsletter and said basically like, oh, I'm going to address the thing, you know, the talking about screw your freedoms, right? So when you open this email, the first thing you get is he tries to sell you a bunch of shit. He tries to sell you on all kinds of shit that he's doing. He's like, we'll get to the other thing later. Like, nobody tuned in to see this other shit. The problem is nobody gives a fuck about what he's doing anymore because of the shit he said. So the only way to actually get them to pay attention to what the fuck's going on, he has to clickbait and trick them into finding out what the hell he's actually doing now. Which I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, Arnold. Like, you deserve this shit, right? So he basically says, and I'm going to just take pieces from this thing, but they're not. It's not like I'm leaving pieces out trying to get this thing to fit. It's very clear. I'm going to give you guys the Cliff Notes, right? He says that what he's going to talk about right now says you might hate 90% of it and agree with 10%, but I'll take that. Hang on a second. You're telling me that your fans, 90% of your fans are going to disagree with what you're about to say, and 10% are going to agree with you, and you're cool with that. So let me ask you a question, Arnold. How much do you really give a fuck about your fans if you're willing to lose 90% of them? That is the most fucked up thing. Maybe if you have billions of fans, losing 90% doesn't matter because you still have fucking 20 million more. Who knows? But he really doesn't give a fuck, guys. Like, he doesn't give a shit about you, me, freedoms. He doesn't fucking care. He cares about his point of view. His ego is so fucking big that I'm shocked that any of us, I feel fucking sickened that any of us, well, I shouldn't say any of us, I should say myself, was a fan of his, was inspired by him. Like, I can't even fucking stand it at this point. Like, this is who he really is. Like, you can lie about who you are, you can act in a certain way, but eventually the truth comes out. I mean, here's a guy, think about it, right, that married into a family, right, that gave him a political career and made him even higher than that movie star that he was. Elevated him to the next level of elite people in the world, right? And he had the balls to not just fuck the maid, but have a relationship with the maid in his own fucking house, underneath the fucking roof where his wife lives, gives birth to a fucking kid, has the kid live there also. He's the father, never fucking tells them, and tries to pay the maid off at first to keep her mouth shut. And this is the guy that we're supposed to be like, oh, he's such a great guy. No, he's not a great guy. He's an actor. Okay, when he was a bodybuilder, he was a pompous prick asshole, which all of us thought was cool because he was in the spotlight, right? If they had put someone else in the spotlight, we would have thought they were cool. But he was pushed on us by Joe Weider, so we thought he was cool. And we never paid attention to who he really was. And now the truth's coming out. And I think a lot of people have seen this throughout the years and they ignore it until you finally hit that one thing that you're like, you know what? It's not a different point of view. You're just a fucking scumbag. And when you realize that, it takes you back, you know? So he talks about earlier in the month, he did that thing on CNN where he said, screw your freedoms, right? This was his next statement. Of course, some outlets decided to take one line out of the conversation was screw your freedom and ran with that. That's fine. They have the right to choose clickbait instead of informing their audience. Arnold, fuck you. We all saw the whole fucking interview. That's what we're pissed about. The whole fucking thing. Not just the screw your freedom thing. We were like, fuck you, Arnold, you're a douchebag. When you said screw your freedom, like, fuck you, we hate you. That's what was going on. You had already lost most people by the time you got to the screw your freedom. Screw your freedom was just in the nail in the coffin. So you're acting like right-wing media took that and spun it with one line. No. Before any of the right-wing media, left-wing media, or any media was saying anything, that fucking video, the whole thing, went viral. We all saw the fucking video. The people reporting it later on was after the backlash from the shit that you said had nothing to do with pushing it. It wasn't like fucking Fox News all of a sudden twisted it, cut out a word, and made a thing. That's not what happened. We all watched the fucking video, we made our decision, and then the news station started covering it afterwards because we fucking spoke up about you. That's what happened. So in this fucking letter to your fans, you're lying. You're fucking lying through your fucking teeth about what actually happened, which is fucked up. So yeah, they began tweeting that room on the fucking car. This happens all the time, fuck it. So basically he also says, the media outlets began printing and right-wing pundits tweeted that my father was a Nazi. They thought this was a revelation because they probably missed my video after actual neo-Nazis marched in Charlottesville chanting, Jews will not replace us. So he's like saying pretty much that he never hid the fact that his father was a Nazi. And I'm like, wasn't your father in the movie Pumping Iron when he died, your mother asked you to go back to the funeral and you said you couldn't? That whole thing was fucking made up. That was a complete fucking lie. So you're trying to tell me that you ran around telling the entire world that your father was a fucking Nazi, and you were so proud of him, and it was not hidden, that you had to make up some kind of bullshit story to make people feel bad for you and pumping iron. Whatever, dude. Like, you're just so full of shit. He said, if they listened to the whole quote, we did, Arnold. That's the problem. We listened to the whole quote, and we were pissed off before you even said, screw your freedoms. If they listened to the whole quote, they would realize that I'm talking about all the whiny babies that I see going viral on the internet. Whiny babies, right? All the whiny babies. Hang on a second, guys, here. This is a politician that ran California, right? That wants to be a leader and us to listen to him. And he's saying shit like whiny baby. Arnold, how old are you? Aren't you in your like your 70s or 80s or 90s? Are you like 105? Like, how old are you right now? Because this sounds like you're 8 fucking years old. Whiny babies? I'm sitting here going, Arnold, like all along this has been you. And we were so snowballed into thinking that fucking you were cool. And now the truth comes out. You think someone speaking up about their freedoms is a whiny baby. Fuck you. This is ridiculous, right? Whiny babies that I see going viral on the internet. Dude, the things are viral on the internet because of the shit you said. It's not because people are whiny babies. It's because you're a fucking dick. Like, that's why it's viral and everybody's shocked. That being asked to put a mask is a perfect reason to throw a toddler fit in a grocery store and look like an absolute child. Arnold, weren't you the one like running around on the fucking beach in a pair of fucking women's underwear? Right? Posing trunks? Weren't you everywhere you went, like you took your shirt off and started posing? Matter of fact, I remember you being in a prison in fucking pumping iron, taking your shirt off, posing. Do you think any of that shit fucking is appropriate that you did? Anything? Like, if that isn't the pot calling the kettle black, like the dumbest shit you've fucking done, the most disrespectful shit you've done, and you're calling out people for trying to fight for their fucking freedoms. Arnold, how do you know that person that's being told to put a mask on doesn't have a fucking disease like COPD and cannot breathe with the mask on? Right? How do you not know that? Or are you judging people without knowing the stories? Because you don't like people that don't like having their freedoms taken away, which is 90% of your crowd, which you fucking lost and you're cool with. Fuck you, Arnold. These people who yell freedom in their American flag hats while not taking any time to study the history of our nation. Study the history of our nation, Arnold? We're from here. No offense. This is our country. You came here. We gave you everything. Every single person watching this gave you everything you have by watching your movies, renting your fucking, going to your shows, renting your fucking movies later on. All of the shit. We gave it to you, right? We gave you what you have. And you're making fun of us, right? That we wear our American flag hats. Sorry, but what's wrong with wearing American flag hat? Is there a fucking problem with that now? Are you saying that because those people wear American flag hats, those are the type of people we should watch out for because they're whiny babies? And they can't be American, they can't be pro-America and wear a fucking hat? Arnold, this is like to his, this is what you see won't see public. This is to his followers, to his fans. He's talking like this, trying to fucking basically turn that 10% against the other 90%. Like, yeah, fuck those whiny crybabies. Screw those fucking American flag hats. What? Dude, this is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen, right? And he says, they think they're being an American means not caring about their fellow Americans. And I'm sorry, I can't accept that. Not caring about your fellow Americans. Not caring about your fellow Americans. Here's the thing. America has been duped into worrying about everybody else first. You know the America first thing? Yeah. Well, that includes you. You should worry about yourself first. When you're on a fucking plane, they tell you, hey, if these oxygen masks drop, put your mask on first before you help other people. You go to therapy, they're going to tell you, take care of yourself first before you can take care of other people. These people are trying to take care of themselves first before they can take care of other people. The problem is you don't want them to do that. Because if they're taking care of other people, they're too busy to see what the fuck's going on in front of their own eyes because they're wrapped up in your agenda and your stupid fucking bullshit. Fuck. This is why I wrote the piece on Atlantic to explain the history behind my thoughts with quotes from the Founding Fathers. You don't know shit about our Founding Fathers. You fucking are spinning on everything fucking they ever did, so I don't want to hear none of your fucking bullshit. In our Constitution that emphasized the responsibility that comes with our hard-earned liberty. Really? Where in our Constitution does it say that the Constitution is suspended because of a virus? Where does it say that? Or is that your new interpretation of it? Is it, well, I can say whatever I want because wording was different back then. Old English was used back then, so it's a little bit different now, so I can interpret it now? No, nowhere in that fucking thing does it ever say that you lose your freedoms and liberties because of a fucking virus or anything that a government wants to do that is not approved by the people. The people are the ones that approve everything, not the government, not the Constitution. The Constitution is laid out as a framework, and we follow that framework, but you are basically saying that framework doesn't count because you have to take care of it. There's nothing in that Constitution that says, look, put yourself in jeopardy and possibly kill yourself because you want to save someone else. That is not what it says in there. So I'm not sure what the fuck Arnold's reading. I mean, maybe he doesn't even read English. Who the fuck knows? My favorite quote, I don't care about your favorite quote. With all this going on, it was a wild week. One of my favorite strongmen I ever worked with took my poster off his gym wall. Then a bodybuilder who played me in a movie copied that move, which wasn't very creative. He's making fun of Callum Von Monger. He's making fun of Brian Shaw. He's talking about them. We lost the Arnold Sports Festival. We added a new sponsor immediately. We're talking about Redcon 1 pulling out and Mutant jumping in. Do you know how many people are pissed at Mutant right now? You know how many people are not going to buy Mutant products right now? Like, you're not getting it. It's not like, oh, the problem was solved. No, the problem was solved for you, Arnold. But Mutant is now going to take a fucking hit because of you. Well, it's their own decision. It's their own decision to align themselves with you. So, hey, that's on them. But your bad juju is going to fucking fall over into their business. And eventually, that's going to be seen. So don't act like, oh, well, we lost one, we got another one, all's good. No, it's not. It's good for you, but those businesses, mark my fucking words, the chatter in the industry, it's already there, guys. It's already there. He says, people accuse me of being liberal and selling out. I guess they think that I get paid to promote health, and they missed my fitness crusade for the last 50 years. Arnold, you were getting paid from day one. Joe Weider was paying you to be a fucking bodybuilder. You didn't come to America for free and become the fucking president's counsel on exercise. You were getting paid. You weren't doing shit for free. And everything that you did, you used to propel something else, like a fucking movie or whatever the fucking else was going on, and you were making the money there. You've been marketing yourself and using PR your entire fucking time you've been here since Joe Weider brought you here. So yeah, don't act like you're this fucking white knight on the horse coming up to save everybody. No, you're a fucking scumbag who's taking advantage of everything we have in this country to create their own fucking wealth and their own empire, and then turned your fucking back on the people that paid you every dollar out of their pocket to give it to you. That's what happened. That's the truth. You can word it however you want. You think you're so slick? We're not fucking blind anymore. We're not asleep, and we're not fucking stupid. We see your stupid ass for exactly what it is, because it's shit like this that shows your true fucking colors. When this gets out, more and more people read this that were like, oh man, I don't know, on the fence about Arnold. They're going to be like, what the fuck? You can't leave well enough alone? You have to fucking make fun of people, call them whiny baby? What the fuck, Arnold? Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, it's just a matter of time, guys. They might have been confused when I donated $1 million to buy protective equipment for our healthcare workers. $1 million, right? You donated, right? Donated. What comes along with donations? Tax write-offs. Fuck you. You pay less taxes on that $1 million at the end of the fucking year than you, because of that $1 million at the end of the year, than you would if you didn't. All these celebrities that like to donate, motherfucker, they write it off on taxes. They get huge tax breaks. Get the fuck out of my face. They act like it's out of the goodness of their heart. They'll throw $1 million over here, write it off on fucking taxes, is like 1.5 or whatever the fuck's going on. They manipulate that shit. It is not what you fucking think. It's just, it frustrates the fuck out of me. And they thought I made money instead of giving it. Arnold, you've been making money hand over fist since you walked in America. I don't want to hear none of your shit. And it's because of Americans, because of freedom, you've been able to do it. So you might be wondering how I'm doing. The answer is always fantastic. When the worst thing happens to me this month is some people yelling at me, then losing a sponsor for the Arnold Sports Festival, that's when you realize how lucky we are to live in this country. Hang on a second. Some people yelled at you? That's what you think? You're so egotistical that you think these people still love you and they yelled at you. Right? You think they're upset with you. These people despise you. These people have walked away from you. They have fucking turned on you, Arnold. And you don't give a fuck. Why? Because you have all your powerful friends, you have all your fucking money, and you have your legacy. You don't give a fuck. Just like you didn't give a fuck about your wife while you were banging the fucking maid. You didn't give a fuck. You were in your own house, you disrespectful prick. And you fucking pull that shit off. That is fuck. I can't even wrap my head around the fact right now, you know, you're just a good actor. You're a good showman. That's exactly what you are. You're like a magician. You're like, look over here, and we think Arnold's so cool, and he's doing all this dirty, nasty shit over here. Like, don't even get me started about the shit that's been coming out, that people have been coming forward saying, I mean, and I'm telling you right now, if any of this shit, it's in the fitness industry, but if this shit hits the fucking mainstream, Arnold's going to have a lot of fucking explaining to do, but more than likely he'll just smile and be like, who cares? I can do whatever the fuck I want. Fuck you, I'm Arnold. Like, that's where he's coming from. And I'm just like, I'm fed up. I'm like, look, this is it. Like, I don't want to talk about Arnold anymore. But when I saw this, I went fucking nuclear. I'm like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? Now, if he really cared about his fans, like you think he cares about you, you're like, oh, you know, Arnold created bodybuilding for us. No, he didn't. Arnold created bodybuilding for himself. Arnold fucking got paid himself. He had nothing to do with you. Arnold puts on the sports festival for us. No, he fucking doesn't. He puts it on himself for fucking money. Why do you think he created and franchised that shit all over the world? For more money. He didn't do it for the athletes. He did it for the fucking money. And when the money's not there, the Arnold will be gone. Mark my fucking words. When the money's not there, he won't be involved in it, or the Arnold will be fucking gone. One or the other. So I sit back and I'm like, look, you guys can make your own decisions. You can cancel him, not cancel him, follow him, not follow him, like him, hate him, whatever the fuck you want. But the bottom line is Arnold's showing his true colors. And hey, maybe you're one of the people that agree with him and you're one of those assholes too. That's fine. Be an asshole with him. Like, you're totally entitled to be an asshole. But when 90% of your following leaves you and you know it, 90% of your following turn their backs on you, 90 fucking percent, and you know it and you're cool with it, let's think about that shit guys. Think about that shit for 1 second. This person who all cared about his fans and walks around the fucking Arnold, right? He walks around the Arnold for his fucking ego. Because everybody tries to get to it. Everybody loves him still. And it keeps a 70-year-old ass fucking where people make him feel like he's still worth something. He's a fucking old man, period. Yes, he did some cool shit. But now I'm like, he did cool shit under the guise of, hey, I'm going to do this for myself. I didn't do this for anybody else. Fuck everybody else. And we watched his story. We wanted to be like him. We wanted to follow in his footsteps and become famous and become a good bodybuilder and become rich and an actor and all this fucking shit. Everybody wanted to follow in his footsteps. Now I'm like, I'm glad I didn't. BioStrengthTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BioStrength.com is a blog. It's a fuck you Arnold bicep. And I ain't turning back on this, and we are out.